It was definitely not pleasant to get the 483. We fixed it, we turned it around, and it starts with the person in charge.
What's your playbook for coming in a difficult situation and making change?
As a leader,
Cyrill Kellerhals, COO at Andelyn Biosciences, and also led the build of a $200 million state-of-the-art biopharma site. When there's a big problem, leaders don't solve it from the ivory tower.
you need to talk to the people. It's all hands on deck, and it's my style.
How do you scale to $200 million facility without losing control as a COO?
At the end of the day, you can have the best facility, the best technology. If you don't have the people which help you to drive it, you will fail as an organization.
Building a place for gene therapy for patients to save lives.
Most of the patients that got our treatments, they're children. We had a case where the girl was 12 months old, and when she got treated, 10 months later, we changed, hopefully, her life. So every day I walk home,
Cyrill, welcome to Lead the Team, my friend.
Good morning, Ben. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. It is so good to have you with us today. So what's it like to face down the FDA?
It is part of normal business. When you're in a quality role, health authority audits, independent FDA, Health Canada, they're all part of your regular routine. So having an inspection is not the end of the world. There's a common say after the inspection is before the inspection. So you have to be ready all the time. But going back to that specific example, it was definitely not pleasant to get the 483, which is the FDA form with all the observations of everything, which is not good or has to be improved. And it is really important to start with the quality mindset, with the quality culture. So it starts as a leader, starts as a leadership, and then you have to really go through the different items. And what often is done wrong is that people look just in one dimension. So they have this blind spot. They just think, oh, I need to fix A. But a health authority like FDA or Health Canada is looking always, okay, what else besides A? So you have to think about horizontal and also vertical. But at the end of the day, it starts with leadership. It starts with culture, and it starts with the person in charge. Because if you don't walk the talk, you will fail as well.
So the quality mindset starts at the top, and in healthcare, my gosh, we need that. So,
absolutely.
First of all, do people freak out, or they're like, hey, we have the systems in place to address this. It's a chance for us to get better. How do people respond?
I think it's a bit both. I think the people which freak out are the people which don't know the details. And, when you go on LinkedIn or in all the social media, you see all the stuff which is not good in the pharmaceutical industry, and you start seeing a narrative which is based on just sound bites. And at the end of the day, each company, small or large, will keep their 483 or their responses kind of tight, because you don't want to share the dirty laundry. And the bits and pieces which goes out in the public will create their own narrative. So yes, it will create drama, it will create stress, but at the end of the day, you always can fix it. It's always a question of time, energy, money, and willingness to do it.
What are you doing to change the mindset? Or do you start with mindset? Do you start with tactics? Do you start with like an investigation? Like, what's your playbook for coming in a difficult situation and making a change?
Honestly, it's all above. It starts with mindset. It starts with tactics. And it's starting to understand what is the true root cause. When you have a lot of overdue kappas and deviations, you can say maybe your quality management system is not good, but maybe you have also not enough resources. So again, you cannot just go in one direction, you have to go multiple directions. But in the cases which I had the opportunity to turn around, is really be tactical. I know it's not sexy to, as a site head or head of quality, go in the nitty gritty, but at the end of the day, you need to go on the shop floor. You need to talk to the people. It's all hands on deck. So, and it's my style. I always say this office in Ohio and with Andelyn Biosciences is the loneliest office, because most people don't like to come to my office because it's always about challenges and issues. But at the end of the day, I have to go out. I need to know, hey guys, what's going on? And it's not a bad thing. And I remember in that specific situation, I started talking to the people, and the people were afraid. What does the vice president of quality come around and talk to me? And it's not about that I'm looking for stuff. I want to know how I can help you because as a
Hmm.
leader, and you can go on all the different books about,
Yep.
servant leadership, etc. At the
Hmm.
end of the day, leadership is about basics. Talk to people, listen to people, and then, you know, whatever they tell you, act on it. And even the answer is sometimes no, I cannot do it because ABC, give a feedback. So in that case, we went, started going through the nitty-gritty. We started tactical. We had the meetings. It's really you're kind of a PM, and you drive the organization.
Hmm.
What is important, whatever you do from a quality standpoint, you have always a partner in crime, engineering, validation, manufacturing. So you cannot do it by yourself. You need to get in the buy-in from the rest of the organization, going back to communication, collaboration, etc. So we
Well,
fixed it, we turned it around. We had that specific site had a re-inspection, and the auditor walked away with no 43, which was a significant improvement. And
awesome.
again, I wouldn't say it was me. It was my organization, it was everybody which was part of the organization, which drove us to the next level.
Love that. And the message I'm hearing is when there's a big problem, leaders don't solve it from the ivory tower.
Oh, absolutely not. You cannot do it. And I
Get on
personally
the
think,
floor. Get on the floor with the people. Don't try to fix the problem from the spreadsheet. Get on the floor with the people who are
yeah,
actually doing the work.
I'm personally think the higher up you are, the lower you're on the food chain. When you have your classical org chart and the CEO or the president on the top, and then whoever below, I think you need to turn it around. I think the higher up you are, the less important you are really for the organization because you don't touch the product, you don't make the nitty-gritty decision, you don't clean the clean room floor. The staff does it, and it's really
Wow.
all about servant leadership.
Well, and so looking back at that, you guys had success. You turned it around. Is it like, did you feel like the wheels stayed on the bus? They kept making progress after you left and got promoted and moved up? Were those leaders able to step up and maintain that level?
We did. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depends how you look, that part of the organization went through a transition and got acquired by somebody else. And
Okay.
the challenge was really we in the leadership team, we felt the integration, we felt the change, and we had all these integration meetings, but we never really translated this this new this new culture down to the shop floor, which if you
Hmm.
don't, and I think this is the other lessons learned throughout my career, if you don't actively drive a culture or influence the culture, it will start driving itself and normally not in the direction you want to do. So what happens if you don't drive it, people again start their own narrative and start, you know,
Hmm.
looking for new opportunities and depends where your facility is. There's a lot of competition normally for highly talented, operating
Sure.
analysts.
Especially after they'd righted the ship, right? They had
Oh, I
had they had
know.
had some big wins. You guys had built your brand on turnarounds, and other people start saying, "Hey, those Novartis guys know what they're doing. Maybe we need to hire them away." Meanwhile,
Yeah,
you're being acquired by an entity who may not know about all the details here.
yeah. And the main
Yeah.
challenge was that entity had a different culture. It was a European entity,
Hmm.
and the site which turned around was US based. And yes, we all have a common base around culture, etc. But at the end of the day, there's still a cultural difference. And I grew up in Switzerland, so I kind of know there's differences. And again, if you don't do a culture change or a change management, not a technical change management, you need to do a change management for the people. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember I started losing the first person for a stupid reason. He had to go back to help his parents, and then after a while, I had every week two resignations for my organization. My organization, I had 150 people, so I lost, I think, over 4 or 5 months, 30 or 40 folks. And this is
Oh,
really when I realized, yes, we had a great audit, we had a lot of great things, but there's something else I missed. So I started having stay discussions. I had skip level meeting again, going back to what was needed from a technical standpoint, I had to do the same for the people part, being on the shop floor, interact with them. Don't send an email. Walk over there with a, it's we always laugh, email is so convenient or, Zoom meetings, but at the end of the day, the personal interaction, the 5 seconds, hey, how was your weekend? Did you see the sports game? Makes a difference because when at the end of the day, you can have the best facility, the best technology. If you don't have the people which help you to drive it, you will fail as an organization.
Yeah. It's it's so interesting, almost like a victim of your own success in that point. You built a
Yeah,
great team, you guys had wins, and you were acquired, right?
yep,
An external organization identified, you, your team, your broader organization as, hey, they're a good investment.
yeah,
And you had, before we started recording, you started talking about this iceberg idea about,
yeah,
hey, on the surface, the iceberg, it looks great. It looks small. It's going to be easy. We're a European entity. We're going to acquire this US success machine. But then you get below the surface, and there turns out to be a lot more to it. And you mentioned a few mistakes that leaders make in those situations
yeah.
sometimes.
It's
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead. No, I think the biggest mistake is that only the, the change managed part of this transaction or this investment was completely missed. The new owner had a different mother language in the first place. They had a different lifestyle. Everything was more. Yeah, it's just everything was different, and we could never translate that. And then during the initial phase, again, leadership team had fancy trips to the headquarters, and we shared a little bit but stuff. But at the end of the day, we couldn't translate. And then again, as people started leaving, and then some key leaders started leaving, and oh, what does Peter know, which I don't know? And the whole narrative
Yeah.
starts. And
Who hasn't been there?
yes,
Yeah.
and this is, if I can go back. I would, and there are definitely things in my life that would change. I think every day I walk home or drive home and say, okay, this was a good day, but this I should change that for next time because there's always something you can do better. As a leader, you never stop learning. I think this is the other lessons learned. You
Love
can
it.
read every book, it never stops. But there's definitely things like if I could go back, I would do things differently.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that raw story with us because, you know, you're helping us also grow as leaders. And I just love your honesty here about, hey, we had all this success, we hung our hat on it, and then we weren't perfect at the end of the day. Eventually, things change externally, and leaders sometimes have to navigate not just the internal challenges, but the external ones.
Oh, absolutely.
So, so good. Now, fast forward, you're up to some really big things. I mean, really taking a piece of land at Adelyn and constructing a biopharma giant $200 million build on that land. I mean, it just seems really impressive. So, how do you scale to 200 million, a $200 million facility without losing control as a
You
COO?
know, it is. I have to say, this or was an amazing journey. So when I started with Andelyn in May 2021, they just finished up putting the last piece of steel in the ground. From there, we really had the race to to finish up the building, and we started production a year and a half later. And it's again it goes back to collaboration because I was during that time just the manufacturing guy, and now I'm the COO, so I had in a different position. But at the end of the day, it is you need to bring the people and communication collaborations because I remember when we started activities here, the office building was not done. So everybody in operation was
Hmm.
sitting Costco's chairs in the warehouse because the rest of the office track was not built out. And it goes back to,
Yeah.
I was worried, will people love it or hate it? At the end of the day, they loved it. And it goes
Yeah.
back about mindset. And for us, I think where it's really, I think a big differentiator is the purpose we create as Andelyn. We create for other companies their product, and it's all about cell and gene therapy. And we often can name the patient. We know we produce that product, and it's about purpose, and it's about leadership, and it's yeah.
Yeah, I
So
love that. It reminds me of that classic metaphor about someone walking down the road and there are these three guys like breaking bricks or stacking bricks. And he comes
yeah,
the first one and he's like, "Hey, I'm sitting here all day. What are you doing?" It's like, "I'm sitting here all day. I'm just stacking bricks or stacking stones." And the guy thinks to himself, that doesn't sound like much fun. And the guy's sweating. He's sad. He goes to the next guy who's doing the exact same thing. And he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "Hey, I'm building this wall. This wall is going to be big. It's going to be tall." And his spirit seemed to be uplifted a little bit more. Than he went to the third guy. And he's like, "What are you doing?" He looks like he's doing the same thing as the other two guys, but he's not stacking stones or building a wall. He's building a cathedral. And suddenly the purpose is bigger. And when I think about Adeline and what you're doing as a COO, instilling this mindset to your people of, hey, we're not just building a $200 million building, we're building a place for gene therapy for patients to save lives.
absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, going back throughout my career, I think the purpose of a company is personally for me the biggest decision if I join a company or not. But that because at the end of the day you have mo the money is all the same, let's be honest, more or less, and you have the same perks or not. But if you have a different purpose, vision and mission of a company, I think it will make a difference if you join a company or if I'm joining a company. And I know a lot of my staff's coming to us because they know
Yep.
that the people which we support, you know, it's for them life changing. And most
Yeah.
of the patients that got our treatments, they're children. We had a case where the girl was 12 months old, and when she got treated 10 months later, we changed hopefully her life. And she was it's her name is Ellie, and Ellie's team we produce for them, and it's publicly announced. And Ellie has an ultra rare disease. There are just 150 children on this planet with this neurological disorder, which impacts her, her life. And it's so we produce for that, and we had last year the opportunity to have Ellie on site.
Yeah.
It's
So
just
she's
these.
on site.
Uh,
She's like the employees are seeing her, the people
we
on the
so
floor.
it was a golf outing, and we had her,
Oh, yeah.
close. So it was really mind blowing. And Andelyn, the name is from Andrew and Evelyn. So both were treated by by Dr. Mandel
Mm.
for with products which Nationwide Children's Hospital produced many years ago. And Andel and Evelyn, they're coming ever so often to on site. So my staff, the Andelyn staff, knows them. You know, they can say hi, they can talk to them. So going back to purpose as a leader is I think the ultimate weapon to to get a strategic plan and objective and execute it at the end of the day.
Yeah. So good. A good reminder, like the trying to help your team keep front and center. A lot of leaders might be thinking, well, my company's making widgets. We're not making gene therapy for 12-month-olds to save their life. You're right, but you got to find the equivalent, right? Find a bigger
Absolutely.
purpose for your organization. And I love this because even at Adeline, like even with your team, it's so easy to get mired down into the spreadsheet
Oh,
and
absolutely.
forget, just start to forget the other stories of like Ellie. And then we as a leader, like we've got to remind people, don't we?
Absolutely. And I'm normally here to early in the morning and leave late at night, and I'm in PowerPoint and Excel file. I'm not without fault, but again, talking about this kind of situation, the LAs of the world, and I saw a study, there's 7,000 rare and ultra rare diseases out there, and for most, nobody is creating any kind of cure because at the end of the day, big pharma want to make money. And rare and
Yeah.
ultra rare diseases, you don't make money. So
Yeah.
you make it maybe because you think it's the right thing to do. But everybody is focusing these days on GLP-1s, etc., because that's the cash cow. You
Yeah.
don't care about the Ellie's of the world.
Take
But
a shot, lose weight is much more
yes, this,
exciting than, okay, 150 people have this. It's, yeah, versus
yeah,
100
again,
million people. Yeah.
exactly. So but you're right. I think every company has a purpose, and sometimes we're just too close to see how it can impact.
Yeah. Man, what a doozy today, sir. Round of applause from the crowd to Cyrill. Where do you want to take this last one? Like what, maybe a story you want to tell or a message that, or a question I didn't get to that you'd like to answer, but what's something that you want to leave the listeners today?
I think, or I believe as a leader, you have to be, a servant leadership. You have to take care of your people because at the end of the day, if you don't do that, you will fail as a leader. I cannot do everything. My staff can do, and they're experts, always experts. So as a leader, trust your staff, empower them, protect them, be their ally in the good and the bad days because they make the difference.
Yeah. What a great message. And I think leaders watching this know, Cyrill, that you got the scars to prove it, right? You've been on the winning side, you've done big turnarounds, you've been in situations where you've had other challenges and lost team members, and you're even in the place now where you're at this intersection of all that coming together for really almost like a higher purpose with like this gene therapy facility, $200 million facility, and you guys are up to really, really big things. Thank you for coming on the show today, Cyrill. Great
My
job.
pleasure. Thank you.